Hi, everybody. Okay, so we're live. Thank you for joining me tonight. I'm going to give people just a few moments to sign on so they can hear what we're talking about here. And I'm starting to see you come on, so that's great. So first of all, I just want to say to all the flight attendants out there, you have been amazing heroes during this time and going to work. And I want to let you know that I have a lot to talk with you about tonight. We're going to start with our health, because if we don't have our lives, we don't have anything. And safety and security and health is what we do every single day. It's who we are as flight attendants, and so we're going to start with our health. But we have a national emergency where we have a healthcare crisis colliding with a financial crisis. So we also need to talk about what we need to have in place so that we can take care of our families and have security and maintain the ability to have our jobs in this industry that we love so much. We love flying, and I just want to remind you all that I closed out a video about 2 weeks ago that said that even on the most cloudy, dampest, dark, foggy days, when we climb up above the clouds together, we are always reminded that the sun is still shining. And that is what I think about when I think about being with all of you. And every time I have been down, I got on an airplane and see the people that I love, that are my flying partners, and that we represent in this union, and I'm rejuvenated. Every single time you do that for me. So I just want to remind you that we take care of each other, and even on the worst days, when you have a good crew, you can face anything together, and that's what we're doing now. So let me also give a shout out to Lynn Montgomery from TW556 at Southwest Airlines. I absolutely love working with her. She is an amazing advocate for flight attendants too, and we are working closely together. And to all the APFA members and your efforts at American, we're all in this together, and we couldn't do it without you. And all of us flight attendants are a fearsome force, and we're going to move together forward to look out for our health and look out for our financial security. So let me address our health first. I know that there is a lot of concern about the fact that we still have flights taking off and landing that people are taking for leisure reasons. We have been talking with the airlines and with our government behind the scenes about working to coordinate a responsible pull down of flights so that we can continue to do what we need to do for our nation right now, which is get people, healthcare professionals, and goods and services to all of our communities that are relying on us, relying on that service. We need to help to make sure that people have the ability to rush to their family's side, and we need to have the ability to move people to medical care. So there are some essential services that must continue and are only possible because of our airlines. What we have said today, and what we have been publicly, and what we have been saying behind the scenes, is that we need a coordinated effort between the government and airlines. And I want to be very clear, this is a very complicated thing. So it requires dealing with things like antitrust immunity that were in the House version of the bill that didn't end up in the final version of the Senate bill that would have helped to do this. But DOT took a step today in the direction of coordinating and pulling down non-essential flights. It was a step in that direction. We need to do more, and we are supporting and working with our government and our airlines and encouraging a coordinated effort, which again is very, very difficult, to make sure that we continue essential service to all of our communities, but not be taking flights where we are exposing crews unnecessarily to this virus. So we also said in the update last night that if you are in the high-risk group, please talk with your doctor. It's very possible that you should not be flying. We don't make medical decisions for you, and we're not going to give you medical recommendations because we are not medical personnel. But we really encourage you to talk with your doctor, and if you should not be flying or exposing yourself and you should be staying home, we really encourage you to follow your doctor's advice and do that. if you are flying and you are getting to a flight and you are finding that you do not have the protective means to take care of yourself, look out for your own health or look out for the health of your passengers, such as running water and soap, hand sanitizer, gloves and masks, the personal protective equipment that you know is necessary in order to perform your duties and to mitigate the risk as much as possible and protect yourselves, then you need to advocate through the captain and through the ground supervisor to make sure that you have what you need in order to feel safe to fly. Please use your position as safety professionals to continue to advocate for yourself. In the meantime, we have asked all airlines to stop all aisle food and beverage service. So we do not need any additional contact between crew and passengers that is unnecessary at this time. So some of the airlines have already pulled this down. We need all of them to do it immediately. And then we will continue to work with our government and encourage our airlines in a coordinated response to make sure that essential flights are taking off and landing that are essential to helping to fight the virus and provide service to all of our communities so that people can get the basic needs that they need during this national emergency. And to all of you who have been willing to do that and to go out and fly, you are recognized as heroes right now. You are performing a service not just for our jobs, not just for our careers, not just for each other, but for our nation, for our country. And I want you to take that in and understand that. So that's where we are on health and safety, and we are going to continue to be strong advocates on this. And I just want you to know that there are a lot of people who are having a hard time because this has been a lot of change in a very short period of time. There is a lot of uncertainty, and we don't need any more. And we know that this is very hard, that we can't just flip a switch and stop all non-essential flights or designate certain flights as cargo only, not needing crew. But these are the things that we are promoting and we are trying to make happen. And we are working really hard to do that. And I will say that I am heartened with the way that the Department of Transportation has been working with us. So in addition to all of that, our medical personnel on the front lines and our grocery workers and our truck drivers and all the people that have helped us in our communities continue essential services and work to fight this virus need all the help they can get. And so we have an opportunity for those of you who want to help, and I've heard from many, many flight attendants. Last night we put out a form that allows you to sign up to be a medical volunteer. And so we have people among our ranks who have medical training that is over and above our basic flight attendant medical training, who we know we can plug in and help. Some may still have their certification, some may have lapsed, but we would like to know who you are if you are willing to help, so that we can plug you into the healthcare professionals' response, both in our hospitals and community health centers, to be able to help. We also have the ability to help as flight attendants who can be trained to actually do work virtually from home. So you can help the medical personnel by doing some intake, getting some training, and help right from home. So our form takes you through all those steps. Do you have extra training? Do you just have your flight attendant training? That is helpful as well, because we have some basic medical training that members of the public don't, that can be very helpful here. And are you willing to go to on-site to help medical professionals, or are you willing to do that work from home virtually, or are you willing to do both? And so please go to AFA-CWA.org/coronavirus, or look in the comments that we will have posted once this video posts, the archive version of this video posts. And you will see the sign-up form for those of you who want to volunteer. We can do a huge service to our nation in addition to the flights that we're working in helping our healthcare volunteers on the front lines and helping them clear out some of the administrative work so that we can get to caring for people, helping to flatten the curve and helping to end this healthcare crisis. So let me move to the financial crisis. Last week, we had a historic victory in the CARES Act. We had a provision in the CARES Act for airline relief that is like nothing we've ever seen before. There's two different parts to it. There are payroll grants that are intended to go to the carriers to pay us. It is money designated for us to stay out of the unemployment line. There are so many benefits to our government for doing it this way. One, we stay in our jobs and we are performing an essential service right now. We are working for our country and we should be allowed to stay in our jobs, connected to our health care, and getting our paychecks. This money is designated for us. It is instead of sending people to the unemployment lines, which increases the administrative duties of the government right now, makes things more complicated, and makes things a total mess. So the payroll grants to go to the airlines have been designated specifically for our wages, salaries, and benefits, keeping us in our jobs, even if not on the job, even if some of us need to stay at home, keeping us in our jobs, getting that minimum pay, connected to our health care, and being ready to lift off again once the threat of the virus is eradicated. So for all of those reasons, this was put in place. It was the last thing on the table that was decided in the $2 trillion package. A second portion of the bill includes the ability for airlines to get loans. Those loans they would get for their additional operating costs. We need our airlines to be able to pay those costs during this time so that they don't collapse during this national emergency, so that we can continue to provide this essential service, and so that we don't have a problem of the airlines being in financial ruin on the other side of this. So there's two different components: the payroll grants, money that is designated for us as workers, as taxpayers, and as consumers, coming straight back to the taxpayers. So our return on that money is to pay taxes on it and pay back into the tax system. That does not happen with unemployment. That is another benefit to our government by doing it this way. So at the final hour, Senator Toomey from Pennsylvania came in and did not like the fact that we were going to have these payroll grants and keep people in their jobs, and put a financial instrument on the payroll grants to destroy them, to make them more onerous than the loans, and to disincentivize the airlines from taking them. So what happened was, in the discussions, bipartisan discussions, and with Secretary Mnuchin, there was an effort to make that optional by the Secretary, with the recognition that the Secretary would not option that tool to leverage the payroll grants. So to leverage us. You can leverage airplanes. You can leverage airports. You can leverage all kinds of things that the airlines use. You can't leverage people. We are people. We are the airline industry. We are the people who make this run. And we are also the workers, the taxpayers, and the consumers in this country. And the CARES Act was supposed to be about getting help to people as quickly as possible, especially in an industry like ours that has been decimated and hurt faster than any other. So the Secretary has been out there saying that he is going to exercise these warrants, which means an equity stake in those payroll grants. The airlines do not know what that means. The airlines have an application process that has been made very complicated for them. And the problem now is that if this moves forward, we have seen this before. I started my work around September 11th and have dedicated my life ever since. I have seen the horrors of the bankruptcy court. I have seen the horrors of an industry in crisis and how all of it goes on our backs. I have seen in bankruptcy court how the executives take bonuses over and above what they would normally get, while the workers have to take a cut in pay, lost our pensions, lost staffing on the plane, have to work harder for less. We have to work those overtime hours now to make ends meet, when it used to be that you could live on 65 flight hours a month and make a good living and take care of your families. And all of that has been put on our backs, and I am not going back. We are not going back. So these payroll grants are for us. They have been designated for us by Congress. And President Trump promised this to us. And President Trump said that the airline workers would be taken care of. And I don't believe that he understands what his Secretary of Treasury is doing now by saying that he is going to leverage these grants against us and make them unusable and push the airlines to make decisions that they shouldn't have to make about going into bankruptcy, about cutting jobs, about not having a secure airline industry on the other side of this healthcare disaster. So we are calling on President Trump. I have tweeted at him directly today, and we are engaging as much as we can to pay attention, because what the Secretary Mnuchin is doing here is he is setting up the possibility of 2 million people who work in aviation to be on the unemployment line. And that is not what is supposed to happen. That is not what it was intended by the CARES Act, and that is not what has been said from the president or from this bipartisan deal from Congress. So we are working very closely with people on the Hill to get this corrected, because it was very clear in the final hours that this was never intended. We will be clear with Secretary Mnuchin. We are going to ask you to join us. So tonight, look for an email notification and go to AFA-CWA.org. We are going to have a take action for you about an hour after I finish this video. Take action, send your letter, send it to your family and friends, because this is a package that can work for other industries too. And if we get it right here, we can lift up other working people in this country. And we can make sure that we have taxpayers and consumers and working people able to contribute in this economy and able to lift us up again. That is what we need. And we need to take care of people right now. And the easiest way to do it is to keep them getting the paychecks that they are accustomed to. So that is what we have fashioned. We're not going to let this one person destroy this. And we're going to stand together to make sure that we get the money that is designated for us in the CARES Act. So I want you to know we're never stopping, never stepping back. But this is a fight that is right now. And we are going to win it together. Because flight attendants, when we are up in the air and something goes wrong, we don't get to call for help from someone else. We have to figure it out. We have to figure it out together. And we do it every single time. We make it work. We de-escalate problems all the time so that people can have a smooth and efficient flight from one point to another. And that is what we're going to do now. We're going to pull together and make sure that this government hears us and makes good on the promises that they made to us. So thank you all so much. Please share this. Please stay informed. Please take care of each other. People are stressed out. They are, this is a stressful time. And the other thing that we don't need right now, frankly, Secretary Mnuchin, is we don't need people worrying any more than they're already worried about their families, about their own health, about their financial security. We just don't need that. We need to take care of people and give people certainty as much as we can in this incredibly uncertain time. So we are calling for cooler heads to prevail here and to make good on the promises that have been made to us. Thank you all so much. Please stay tuned and take action with us. Thanks and good night.